Hello there. Oh, sorry. You caught me while I was nerding out. Now, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And this is my first live stream ever. We said we were going to do it because we hit our 100 subscribers, and that's thanks to you guys. And we've never done a live stream before. It's always been edited and controlled content. But I also wanted to make this where it's going to be kind of interactive. At least I hope it's going to be interactive. Right now, there's only one of you watching, but hopefully that'll become larger as we progress. Well, welcome to my man cave, aka the Bat Cave. I just want to give a special shout out starting off with to my wife. Because of her, I have my nerd room. Every house we ever looked at that we looked at buying together was, oh, this would be a good place for your office. So I really do appreciate that because it gives me a little bit of room to come in here and just be myself, which is a giant geek. Exhibit A. But I promise you guys this live stream if we hit 100 subscribers. And basically, it's going to be an opportunity for us to talk about plans for the channel, what we plan on doing in the future, why we even do the channel, and maybe answer a few questions that you guys may have, if you have any at all. And I see our one person went away. Sad face. But you can always watch at the same time because once we're done with the live stream, it'll be up on the page for you to watch in perpetuity, I guess you can say. So the reason that we're here, we hit 100 subscribers. So thank you guys so much. I know we've been doing this now for a little over a year, and I've even talked to a few people. They feel that we should be already well past the 100 subscribers. But you know what? I don't really follow the algorithm per se. I always forget to do hashtags. I make these videos and I do what I do specifically because it's like therapy to me. Um, like everyone out there, we all have a lot going on. Right now, we're in the midst of trying to buy a new house. I just interviewed for a new position with my work, my day job, and trying to get everything set up for this potential move, possibly. Our kid's in school over here, and he loves it. He's going to be in first grade this year. And stuff's going on with my father health-wise. There's just a lot of things that's constantly going. And one of those constants that helped me keep level-headed and basically not lose my mind was creating this content for you guys and for this channel. It really is therapeutic. For those of you who don't know who I am or what I've done, which is probably a lot of you, as we don't talk a lot in detail the before Triple T life here. My name's Thomas. I'm from here in Tucson, Arizona, and I've been making these videos now since April of 2022. So a little about almost a year and a half. And it started off because for the longest time, I begged and pleaded with my wife that I wanted to get my dream car. It was going to be a financial stretch for us, but I actually do have my MBA. And the only thing I've ever used my MBA for was proving to my wife on paper financially that a Tesla was a plausible idea. And I made the numbers work, and she let me get a Tesla, which is my dream car. Ever since I first saw what a Tesla could be with the original Roadsters back in the mid 2000s, in the aughts, as they say. So I stopped. We got the Model 3 in December of 2020, and I love the car. But like most people, I didn't know a lot about it going into it other than what it's supposed to do and what it is, an electric vehicle. Well, I started encountering a problem, and I even got Tesla involved with it. Went to the forums online, tried to look up YouTube videos on it, and nobody had a solution to the problem I had, which was my car was not charging fully every night, which is obviously putting me in a very, very awkward position when I have to get to and from someplace. So I was like, I'm gonna get rid of this car if I can't figure out how to charge it correctly. And that's when I made my first video. I made the process, like showed people what the process was from basically diagnosing the car, finding the issue, and fixing the issue. And turned out, in my particular case, it was a third-party app on my phone that was preventing my car from charging when it was supposed to. Then when I put that out there in the world of, hey, this is what my car was doing, I got a little bit of a following, which was really cool. Oh, hey, late to the party's watching. If you haven't checked them out, make sure you go down there and like and subscribe and check out their video. If you love pop culture, especially TV, film, all that, absolutely perfect show to watch. And I'm biased. I like both of them. They're amazing people. That being said, I kind of actually we're going to get back to them in a second because that's part of my origin story here. They started their channel a number of years ago, and they're at 120 plus thousand subscribers. I love that they're passionate. They love what they do. It's who they are. They get to do what they love for a living at this point. So I watched what they were doing, and I was like, well, I made this video. Maybe that's my niche. Maybe that's it. It's the Tesla portion. But I don't want to make a video just on that because it's a little weird, in my opinion. I don't know how else to describe it. So other thing we like to do as a family is travel, because you only get one life to live, folks. Make sure that 130,000, but who's counting? You are. Those numbers are high. I just hit 100 and I'm celebrating. So great job, guys. Um, Back to what I was saying, which is maybe I found my niche because I don't think you can do this or be successful on this platform if you don't have that niche market. As Kevin Smith once said, all you need is 1,000 people around the world to support you, giving $1 a month to what you do, and you can realistically make a living doing it. That being said, I'm not looking at making a living doing this. As I said earlier, it's very therapeutic for me. It helps me keep level headed. And back in my old college days, I graduated here at the University of Arizona back in 2012. We actually had started a podcast and it was mildly successful for that time and era. I mean, on average, we were getting at least 500 new downloads a week and usually right around 1,500 to 2,000 per month. By today's numbers and with today's like reach of podcast, maybe it was something we could have done. Like I did that with my friends Troy and Josh. And then I moved on to another chapter in my life, which was comic books, which you've seen the show before. We do a lot of comic book material. I'm a huge comic book fanatic, and I would like to say TNT. I still have the domain rights and everything. And we're going to get to that in a second, too, about the future of the podcasting world with us. And I moved on to the comic books with one of my best friends, Caleb Warner. I've done books with Vincent Sepulveda, as well as Daniel Boone, Eric Schock, who's one of my amazing friends and a fantastic artist. If you've never seen his stuff, make sure you follow Evil Robo Productions. And with Caleb, make sure you're following Caleb Warner Art. I love the comics, but we all have separate lives. The comics were never a like true moneymaker or anything for us. Basically, they paid for themselves because we loved what we did and wanted to produce it. Then I went through this long lull with real no artistic outlet. And that's when I got into, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. That was my goal when I was younger. I wanted to be a screenwriter or a film critic. But now in the days of the internet, everybody's a film critic. So I wanted to take those scripts that I wrote and we convert them into comics. And then I was like, I like the editing portion. That's what I've always wanted to do. Well, here we are. I get to shoot and edit these videos. Granted, with my full-time job and our full-time family, full-time everything, it's not like I can plan these videos out for day shoots or multiple days or taking a whole day to edit. Usually on a day off, I will shoot 2 to 3 videos and edit them all that night. So that's why they're a little crappy, but they work for me. And I said, if we got to 100 subscribers, I'm going to keep doing this. I was going to give myself 2 years. And if we never hit 100, I was just going to say, hey, I tried. It was fun. I'll keep editing videos for myself, not necessarily for YouTube. But thanks to y'all, we hit 100 subscribers. So I keep looking at myself on the monitor, TV. So we are here now, and I want to explain to you guys what the future of the channel is, which is the whole point of this live stream, which this in and of itself was kind of a challenge. I was trying to figure out the best way to do it, best sound, best audio, without having to put a lot of money into the investment. Because that's always my goal, whether it was comics, podcasts, or now YouTube. I want to prove you can make a great quality product without destroying the bank account. So in this case, I'm using my GoPro I've had for 4 years, set up as my webcam, my wireless go-to mics that are now my internal mics. So hopefully it sounds okay. Give me a thumbs up, y'all, if it sounds all right. And like and subscribe if it sounds all right. So what I decided now, what we're going to do is we're going to try it and advance the channel a little bit. I'm actually looking at forming a Patreon, not necessarily for the revenue stream, which would be nice, but I would like for it to pay for itself. Like in other words, the video camera equipment, any kind of server space. Yeah, it definitely is. The live stream stuff is kind of hard. This was interesting to say the least. I partnered with some of my friends who invest in like YardStream or StreamYard, whatever it's called, and to great success, mind you. But again, I didn't really want to put that investment in there if it's not something I'm going to continue to use or utilize to its full capacity. It's just the analytical business part of my brain. Don't invest money where I don't get an ROI. We need a return on investment. In this case, it's those subscribers. So if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So as far as the Patreon goes, the reason I want to do that is I want to make several tiers to kind of bring back some of my other creative outlets. So yes, the Patreon would have like certain exclusive features such as once in a while or once a week live stream just for the Patreon members. But also I want to bring back podcasting. I've already talked to a few people and they've agreed to be guests for the show. And we're going to talk and learn more about them and what they're doing and what they're contributing to the artistic world, whether it's YouTube, comic books, or music, or what have you. In fact, late to the party was watching. We're going to talk at some point. I want to get you guys on there. Thanks, Brandon. You always show us love. And I agree with what they just said over there late to the party with Robert. It's hard to find that the whole point of YouTube and all of our online presence is we really pick and choose when and where we take in that entertainment. So yes, live stream is great. Like I have 4 people watching now. I was fully expecting 0, to be honest with y'all, but it's going to stream in perpetuity going forward on the channel. And that was the whole point of it. I want to do this. If we can get like a full live interaction going, that'd be great. But at the same time, now we're just trying to convey the information and create another video for our content. So with the Patreon, another thing I want to do is bring back podcasting, like I said, and maybe even bring back some of those old episodes in TNT. My only catch is I started listening to some of those older episodes. I was laughing at some of them, but I was also just cringing at some of them because I was definitely early 20s in that, and I'm definitely almost 40 now. In other words, that person I was listening to is not the person here before you talking now. It still is the same Tommy, just a grown up, somewhat more mature, despite all this stuff, and despite the fact that I have a lightsaber within 2 inches here. James says lies. You know, none of it's lies. He was there in the beginning. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, especially those who have been more tired. You are not kidding. In fact, part of that backstory is here on the channel, I do almost all my editing at night and do everything after everybody's asleep. Like my kids' bedtime is, surprise, surprise, 8:30 to 9 o'clock. It used to be 8 p.m., but you got to learn to pick your battles. And it's 9 p.m. now. So when we started it, because hopefully they're all asleep, and you're not going to have a kid running here wearing some pull-ups being like, Daddy, he hit me. Hit him back. I don't know what to tell you. It's funny watching brothers interact because I was not fortunate enough to be raised with my siblings, and having had my sister just visit, it's like, oh man, it was so nice that we skipped the crappy adolescent years where we didn't have to like fight. There was a Goofy cameo. Oh yeah. I decided to stream our Disney videos because that's one of our big passions too. We're big Disney files. We're those annoying Disney adults. And here, I'll give you an example. My father once asked me, like, this was about a month ago, do you guys have any other vacations planned? Yeah, we're actually heading to Disneyland again in October. We got tickets for Oogie Boogie Bash. We're one of the few and proud that was able to make it through that line. And we had never been before. So it's a new experience for us. And by default, a new experience for you guys. Why do you guys go to Disney all the time? Is it some sort of fetish? And when he said that, I started to get offended. And I went, actually, yeah, it is kind of a fetish for us. We truly enjoy going to Disney. And we're lucky enough to be in a position where we can. My wife and I are magic key holders. And this is like the most first world, like first world way of justifying that type of purchase because how much it costs. If you go twice a year for at least 4 days each time, it more than pays for itself. Again, the most first world comment ever made. So we are huge Disney fans, which is like we take great pleasure in watching people like Justin Scard and Tim Tracker and Robert and Vanessa over there turn me on to like Adam the Woo. That's what got me into the whole watching theme park videos and travel videos and everything. And I was like, I want to do that because we already do that anyway. And I was lucky enough where I traveled a lot, where I got to see things that the average person didn't, which is why this is Tommy's Tesla Tech and Travel. And I've always been fascinated by technology. The caveat there is I can't talk a lot about certain technology because of what I do for a living. I didn't think about that in the time, but I can still talk about the tech that's associated with my cameras and the computer and things along those lines. So I just got to be careful so you don't want to cross any lines or boundaries by accident. But I love my car, which is currently in the shop. If y'all haven't seen the video, go back and watch it. Someone decided it was going to be fun to rear end me. Although they did accuse me of slamming my brakes. Thank goodness for Tesla 24/7, 360-degree cameras. I was like, no, I didn't. Here you go. I love tech and I love travel. Oh, well, thanks for tuning in. Go get some sleep. I know you're there in the Midwest there, James. So go to sleep. And I heard y'all got some work done in your basement. So thank goodness. And tell your wife again, happy birthday for me. So the future of the channel is I would like to continue to grow it in the direction that makes sense to me, which is continuing the Tesla tech and travel portion, but more importantly, start encompassing other things. I would like to shoot pre-scripted stuff like skits and not necessarily skits, but like I said, I always wanted to be a filmmaker, things along those lines. I want to incorporate more collaborations because like right now we have Brandon on watching who's over there at Life on Video, which we didn't know each other at first. We worked together at our day job one day and we started chatting because I was over helping him out or helping out where he was working. And that's when he told me, he's like, oh, you like Disney videos too? I was like, I do. And that's when we bonded on all the different content creators that we follow. And it turns out he was a content creator himself, as I am now. So we bonded over that. Robert and them over at Late to the Party, as you pointed out, they went to Oogie Boogie Bash not that long ago. And it flies by fast, but I would love to go there and see these things and be part of it, give my perspective and my, like, let me break it down to this way. The reason that we decided this channel made sense, well, I pitched it to my wife and she agreed with me. I did want to make it about owning a Tesla. Is it possible for a middle class family to basically survive with an electric car as opposed to gas? Because that's the direction that our world is going into. But it evolved into more than that and turned into a lifestyle vlog of sorts. So yes, we have a standard range Tesla Model 3 that we have driven to Florida and back with a, at the time, 4-year-old and 1-year-old. Now they're 6 and 3. And we are still going off that same car. And we've noticed real no change in our life other than not having to pay as much for gas. My average charge at home for the car is like $8, so I have to charge it to full. And it's not like we have a lot of disposable income to put into the car. We're proving that what we were paying for our previous car, the more economic friendly gas car, quote unquote, our lifestyle hasn't changed. And more importantly, we actually started saving money because of the safety rating in the car with our insurance, the fact that I'm not putting $160 to $180 in my car in gas every single month. It really did work out in our favor. Now, some people are anti-electric car or anti-Tesla specifically, which I totally get. In fact, I've even looked into different electric cars just recently, but now the car in the shop, I think we're going to stick with what we have. But I want this channel to evolve and develop into something that's just an extension of us, proving that you can have the 2 kids travel, have the electric car. We go through our ups and downs like everybody else, and that's what this channel is about. We don't go into a lot of detail in our personal life because this should be an outlet. It should be fun. At some point, I think we will incorporate more serious things as they come. Knock on fake wood. We hope that they don't come, but if that happens in our life, it's part of our life. Now, I've had to make certain concessions with making these videos, which more importantly is, Robert put earlier, consistency is the key. I had to set standards for myself and not fall short of those. So in other words, I know I'm realistic when how many videos I can put out and edit. So I put one video up every 3 days. And sometimes I'll have 6 or 7 in the can and just load themselves. And I'll just go like a madman for 2 weeks, just working, family stuff, running errands, all that good stuff. Then we have moments like now where I just struggle to get 2 videos edited and put up to come out tomorrow and 3 days after. It is what it is. And that's part of the struggle. It's part of life. But this is the part I would like to say, if anybody has any questions, I would love to answer them, all 3 of you watching right now. I mean, it can be questions about the crap you see behind me, questions about what we want to do, questions about comic books, questions about the Tesla, questions about tech, and go. And yes, if your question is, where'd you get that awesome lightsaber? I got it in Galaxy's Edge when you got to build your lightsaber and go through the whole Jedi experience at Savi's workshop. It was one of those things, we budgeted for that. So a question that I do get that no one's asked yet is, how do you guys afford to do all this stuff? Nothing is done on the spur of the moment because of the way that we both work and the stresses and everything of our jobs. We plan things out months ahead of time. And in the past video, if you go back and look, when I talk about like how we prepare for our Disney trips, we put money away every single paycheck specifically for either a rainy day fund or for our vacation. So when the time comes, we're not just putting everything on a credit card, putting everything on here. Basically, everything we do is planned out and prepaid before we even leave for where we're going. People are like, aren't plane tickets expensive? Well, we don't fly really. I like flying. I've flown a lot, but driving is more fun to me. I love seeing the world. Like Disneyland's great. I love that space in between too, where we do stop at Cabazon and see those dinosaurs like my sister and brother-in-law did on the way back today. Or we find some restaurant they never would have discovered otherwise if we didn't stop to charge the car nearby. So we're a driving family. Sorry, I appreciate you, Robert. Yeah, there's no questions. That's fine. I'm going to rant and rave for like another, let's say 6 minutes. We'll call it at 9:25. So Robert liked our house because we are shopping for a new house right now. Actually, I did get a question on one of those videos, both in the comments, but I think the comment was erased for whatever reason. But I got a text from said person who knows me in real life. Oh, why are you guys looking for a house? Well, I work full time. My wife works full time. And we've done the math. If one of us, well, in particular, we looked at it if she wanted to stay home with the kids. Well, we like having the extra income, obviously, as my wife's been doing what she's done for over 20 years and is very good at what she does. She's actually really is an inspiration in that regard, that someone who's that dedicated to what they do. But we did the math. If we were to put our kids in daycare, it would literally be her entire after-tax take-home salary because daycare is expensive, y'all, if you didn't know that. So we are fortunate enough that my mother retired right before we had our first son, and my aunt retired shortly thereafter, who lives with my mother, and they literally babysit for us every single day. Like the common question we get from Henry is, "Who gonna watch me today? Is it gonna be Grandma and Gayla?" Maybe my Aunt Gayla. So we are fortunate enough that we have that daycare built in, but neither one of them is in the best of health, and unfortunately, time is a cruel mistress that eventually catches up with all of us. So we are looking to get a home that's big enough for them to come live with us, but we still have our own separate space. So they actually are living in our former house. We ended up selling to them when we bought this bigger one when we had Charlie. So both houses have been in the family now for about 8 years and 4 years respectively. So we'd like to sell both of those and basically come under one roof, which allows them to not worry about all the stress of upkeep on their house if something were to happen. Were they gonna be able to get a hold of me if something were to happen? It's basically easing all of our minds. So we are looking at houses right now. So do expect more of those videos. I'm going to be looking at some more houses in the near future. It's just with everything that was going on for the past 3 weeks, we had to step back a little bit, but we are on that path. Now the question is, what side of town do we live on? Because currently we live on basically the east side, but we're looking on the north side, which is closer to where we both work. Because right now we do about a 50-mile round trip per car per day. It adds up. So yeah, more house tours coming up. I would like to do more of the Tucson pizza crawl, which has not been as well received as I hope, but I am a giant pizza fanatic, and there's plenty of other places I want to go to. I've been told about some pizza restaurants in Winkleman and Sierra Vista and other places in southern Arizona. People say, why don't you go up to Phoenix? Phoenix is a whole other world, people. Here in Tucson, southern Arizona, we have our own like culture. And I want to give small businesses and those hole in the wall pizza places all the attention that I can. Phoenix is a lot of chain pizza places that are great, don't get me wrong, but I want something that's made from the heart and made from scratch. Over there at Lake Zapata, they talked about how upper crust on our videos is one of their favorites. Love upper crust, but I'm a big no anchovies fan. But we'll see. They've got some places, like I said, queued up for that. I also want to do more tech videos with different technologies. I'm looking at upgrading the GoPro probably because the GoPro is actually my favorite thing to shoot on. It's so small and utilitarian. It makes so much more sense for me to shoot on that. I do have a DJI gimbal that I use for my phone, but it doesn't like me, so I don't use it as much as I should, but I like to start utilizing that more. And the G7X Mark III has been my favorite one so far. I bought a lens extender for a wide angle, and this has been so gnarly as a camera, but it's been having a weird overheating problem that I got to figure out because it's only been happening recently. We'll be in touch. So if there's anything else, if there's any questions, please feel free to shoot it to me, guys. I'm going to cut it early because I think we've said everything we need to say. But be on the lookout. We are going to be doing that Patreon soon. We got the car hopefully coming back from the auto body shop. Some more videos coming on that in the process. Unfortunately, the person that hit me still hasn't taken responsibility. To my knowledge, they gave me their insurance. Turned out they were uninsured. And this has been a headache. But that's why we have insurance. That's why we're responsible adults. My car is getting about $9,000 worth of repairs right now. Basically replacing the whole back end of my car. It is what it is. But guys, thank you for taking the time to watch this, both of you still remaining. So to answer that question is the focus on the G7X Mark III is way superior. And for one particular reason. Let me see if I can turn it on and show you here. It actually has a vlog mode. And that's been a huge help with me because the G7X Mark II would lose focus. Even though like I tell it to focus on this image, it would just focus on whatever was moving in the background, which threw it off a lot. That was still a great camera to shoot with, and I still have it and still utilize it. But when I saw this had a vlog mode and a microphone input, sold. And it's been a great investment. And no pixel burn yet on the G7X Mark III. I've only had that on the Mark II, but that was on there when I purchased it. I did purchase it secondhand. Little funny story. We were at a barbecue joint that was next to a pawn shop, and I just watched a comic book collecting video where the guy says he finds great key issues for cheap in pawn shops. So I went in there and said, I'm going to go check it out. Never really haven't been in a pawn shop before, except one other time I went in with my father-in-law and we were eating some barbecue together. And I went in there and said, hey, do you have any comic? What's that? And I just learned about the G7X Mark II through an Adam the Woo video, and they had it there for sub $200. And that's an $800 or $700 camera, y'all. So I was like, okay, done. Boom, bought it. It was great, but there was 3 dots pixelated out. I've yet to have that issue on here, and I'm hoping the overheating issues I'm getting is not related. Really can't shoot at night. Because that's the whole reason I got this, was for being able to do the low light shooting I can't do with my GoPro. But that's when I learned with my phone that I used to shoot on sometimes has fantastic night shooting, but the sound on it was pretty terrible. Which now that I got these, we got to try that out at some point. I just got to get some sort of extension and gimbal that goes on to my gimbal that allows to have. See, we'll talk about that one off because that's kind of related to the things I can't talk about tech wise in these videos. So we'll talk about that. I'll shoot you a message. But just know that most new modern ones have all great night shooting capabilities. In fact, if you go back and watch a lot of our Disney videos, anything we're shooting on a dark ride is probably my phone. All right, guys. Well, thanks for taking the time with us. Thanks for taking a ride with us. I really appreciate y'all participating here in this live stream. Hopefully there'll be more coming up soon, especially if we do the Patreon stuff the way I want to for the members. But take a ride with us again soon. Enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for playing along and placating my narcissism. All right, guys. You have a great night. Bye-bye.